Welcome. I was about to say to the Artist Exchange, to the BingeWorthyPodcast series. You got me, Nate, and we got George. What's going on, George?
What up, y'all? Welcome back.
George found the fountain of youth. He went back a couple years.
Yeah, you ain't had to put me out there like that. Everybody ain't know that's an old picture. You're an asshole, Nate. Just don't let a nigga shine.
I mean, your face is like all over our advertising. I just, it's an elephant in the room, so I just wanted to say hi to him.
Why? Me being pretty is the elephant in the room?
I mean, be pretty. Do you, brother?
Be you done ruined it now. I might as well go back to the old picture.
This is a lot.
But we have our returning special guest, the Miss Tracie Jiggetts, the superstar magical Negro.
What's going
on? We doing good. We doing good. I just, new month, new this year starting to pick up in speed. Right. We coming out of Black History Month, moving into I'm gonna call it Black Women's History Month. That's where I'm at. And just to continue the blackness as we move forward. Well, I mean, I wanted some balance. Some white stuff make me laugh. So, you have to, you got to represent sometimes.
They have their contributions. We cannot deny.
They are great at their improv, so we got to give them their shout out for that.
Yeah, we can give them their flowers.
So how was everybody's week? Everybody, got through. We here in the weekend. How's everybody doing?
I'm still here.
You still here? You still in February?
We technically.
Oh, we all
are. Right. We giving the women's early. We getting them out the gate early.
We ushering them in. We got to usher them in, right? So I wanted to have an awesome young lady join us. We got Miss Tracie join us. We got some interesting shows tonight. The movies that we chose for this go round are more so woman ensemble pieces. And I wanted to bring some new stuff in, but I wanted to give a little respect to some things that have gone unnoticed for a long time, and some things that are our personal favorites and things that may, be new to the listeners. But our lineup tonight, we got Stompin at the Savoy. It's an older picture. I think that's the oldest one we have on here. We got the Women of Brewster Place, which is crazy as you watch it with new eyes. It's a little weird. I never paid attention to the beginning of that movie, and it really is. Oprah was in a struggle. We got A League of Their Own.
There's no in baseball.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite lines.
Yeah.
Especially whenever the kids are crying, it don't have nothing to do with baseball. You will hear me frequently.
And they think you crazy. Like, we're not on the baseball field. We also have so my secret pleasure is listening to country music and more specifically Dolly Parton. I don't tell many people that.
Dolly is a
Yo brought Dolly Parton up like at least 4 times in season 1.
I did. I really
one Dolly Parton film. Yo found a way to work Dolly Parton into a conversation.
I secretly, I was breastfed, so I secretly had a little brush on.
That's what I said.
Right.
So she's an awesome freaking human being. Let's just shout out Dolly. She really is just, yes.
She's a phenomenal writer. She got a wicked pen game with her writing skills. Also, we got The Bridesmaid. Now, this movie was just funny to me. I
Mm-hmm.
laughed from beginning to end.
Mm.
The whole shit on yourself scene is just phenomenal. And then
And
to
see, you
wrap,
said it, and I was about to say I'm not a fan of toilet humor. That's the
but it was
what she said
hilarious.
next. It
It
was
was the
terrible.
build, right? It was the build up to it that had me on the floor. And then to round it all out, we got Waiting to Exhale, I think. Uh,
Ooh,
and we got to hold on to it and we got to say a
and
prayer for Waiting to
sweet,
Exhale because
sweet.
they trying to turn this into a TV series. And I don't,
Mm. Yep.
everything can't be a spinoff. I just,
Yes, it
everything is
can.
not
Yes,
adaptable.
it can, Nate.
I mean, first of
Yes, it
all, they're
can.
not gonna have the original characters. So
No, they are. They're just not going to be played by the original people.
Oh,
those were the characters to me. The women who
No,
played it were the
the characters
characters.
are the characters, and then there's the people who played
Yeah,
them.
we don't even remember their real names. We only remember them by their real acting
I
names.
remember
So
Savannah.
that's because that was your piece. Okay, I got you. He was a Savannah fan.
Yes.
But there's our
All right.
selections for the day. So I just want to jump right out there. And start with Stomping at the Savoy. Did
all right.
anything stand out for this film for you all? This, and mind you, this is more of a lighthearted
Mm-hmm.
selection tonight. We not super deep until probably we get to League of Their Own, and I had issues with League of Their Own watching it now versus when I was young. But Stomping at the Savoy, it was a nice lineup of women who don't really get like shine like the Vanessa Williams, the Jasmine guys, names that we know, but they don't always get like a lot of shine when it comes to like starring roles. But this film had all four of them together, Lynn Whitfield,
Mm-hmm.
and it was. I love the movie. The story is four women who are just in their own walks of life, trying to just make it in a very tough time. Like it had a I liked the movie. I just didn't like the story. I didn't like how Jasmine died. Like it got a little sad for me. It was a lot of sad moments. It looked like they were all gonna make it, and then tragedy hit or life hit all of them in some kind of way. Did y'all
Yeah.
enjoy the film or?
I enjoyed the film. I thought I really enjoyed like the setting and the period pieces. I thought the costuming was great. Um, yeah, I thought the acting, but here's the funny thing. Like, I hate having to like defend films like this. Like the acting, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it, like going back, so in the writing, absolutely, like going back, like it really it makes me angry because a lot of these films, can easily be forgotten or just left to the wayside because, like you said, they don't get the shine that like your typical films that are mostly starring white people get.
Right.
But when you watch them, it's like, like it's just I'm just sitting there like, why? Like why is this not a film that we frequently talk about? Why is this not a film that I don't hear people like really discussing? I hear people, this film came out in like I think 1992. Like, there are plenty of films from 1992 that we still talk about, right? Like they still get brought up in conversation. In those topics. This ain't one of them. And it just, you watch them today and you just be like, yo, like, why?
And I could see if they were like, I mean, not to say no name characters, but I could see if these were like, most of them wasn't talented and it was like maybe one breakout character or actor in it. But this was with Jasmine Guy, Lynn Whitfield, Vanessa Williams, Mario Van Peebles.
Like all of these people
Vanessa
are
Bell
solidified
Calloway.
in their careers at this point.
Right.
Well, I'm going to say this, because as far as it's still being talked about now, it wasn't talked about then.
No, right.
It was not one of the films that
Kind of
continue.
stood
Like
out.
today, we're repeating lines from "There's No Crying in Baseball," right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it did not have the same aging power.
right.
So it was a strong film. I love the aesthetic. I'm all about the ladies coming together, going out, and but yeah, I can definitely see where you said it takes a sad turn.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't. It was good. It was good, but it's not one of those where. And I love a good. Yeah, it's not one of those where I was like, I gotta see that again.
Yeah. It would I enjoy and I've watched it a couple times actually, but I enjoyed it because I knew all the people in it. And it seems like a lot of black movies are normally just packed with people. So it gets a little cluttered and the storylines go all over because there's too many people in it. And but they were really good. I have to give it to them. The cast was really good, and there was a lot of good things going on. It's just our stuff don't always get a lot of publicity. I remember when it came out, it didn't get a lot of publicity. It didn't get a lot of marketing. It was like almost a TV film, a TV movie, straight to DVD type of movie. But it was good, and I guess because it was a period piece in the '90s.
And that's what makes it
Uh,
better for me,
yeah.
honestly, because it just shows the talent on
Mm-hmm.
display. With a lot of times our movies feel like that because of the limited budget,
Right.
right? Which we know is very, very much in line with the fact that our films don't usually, for whatever reason, attract the type of budgets that we accustomed to seeing from films.
Hmm.
Which
Right.
really like watching it now makes me enjoy it even more, knowing that they had to, that they were able to do this with
Right.
a lack of funding, essentially.
But I'm saying it was comparable to a Harlem Nights that came out in '89,
Hmm.
but it just didn't. I guess it didn't have that level of star power to it.
Well,
But these
I
women
wouldn't
were.
go so far as to say I don't think it was as entertaining as a Harlem
No, I
Night.
mean, I know
But
I'm
from a
saying
budget
as
perspective,
names.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like Harlem Nights is another one that was when you really, and then again, actually, you know what? When I think about it, yo, like, I don't know, like when you think about budget as far as like really being able to accentuate like the time, the place, the era and things like that, like I don't know if Harlem Nights was really that far off. Like I don't
That's
know
why I
what
said
the
it was more
budget for that
comparable.
film was, but
Right. The
um
look of it was it felt like a Harlem Nights type of movie to me, but it I guess with the cast of women, but by this time all of them had a name. I think I'm not I'm just guessing here in the '90s. I think most of them had a name or most people knew them and they were in other stuff, but I guess sometimes even that for black films don't it doesn't really matter. Uh and it's kind of it may go out, but it may not. But I
mhm.
mean, I guess this movie was kind of it wasn't a little lackluster in terms of it's something you would like to watch, but it's not something I gotta go watch that again. But it was good. It was really good. I
Well, I wonder
enjoy.
how many people know about it. I don't think I'd ever heard of the movie until it showed up, until we
Mhm.
decided that we were going to discuss it. I had to go watch it. Like that was my first time seeing it.
I
So
remember
when
when it
I
first
heard of
came.
it, I've been
Mhm. Go ahead, Tracy.
especially with the dance. No, I was saying especially. So I was definitely aware and have seen the film
Hmm.
a number of times,
Right.
but yeah, it just did not have the. I wasn't like, yeah, I got to see this again. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And it actually did really well in terms of like its ratings and people enjoying it from doing a little research on it. And one of my favorite directors that we don't even know be in the directing seat is Debbie Allen. So of course it had a lot of dancing, it had a lot of like entertainment in it. So it really did. But watch it. It's enjoyable. These are a awesome cast of women with some great supporting males in the in the supporting character seat, but it's something that you could watch. If you've never seen it before, watch it. You would enjoy it. I know right now we're doing a lot of period pieces and film and TV, but this is definitely would fall in line. But you could, fall in love with it. You never know.
Yeah, it's worth your time. It is definitely worth your time.
Right, right, right. Uh, so next up is Women of Brewster Place. Oprah be coming
Ooh.
through in the clutch.
Let me tell y'all about this number.
Mm.
Look at George going rogue. He said, "You want to see my face?" He has said,
Yo, like I didn't even know I had turned my
public wants
camera
to see
on, yo.
me. Nuh-uh, George said, "My public wants to see me." Yo, let me say this real quick because we about to talk about the Women of Brewster Place.
Yes.
How fitting, because my neighbors is fighting. And I'm standing here with the sage trying to bless the space child. But I'm like, oh, Lord, okay. So all prayers to the couple, because apparently there's another lady. Oh, Lord. Anyway, the women
like
of the Brewster Place.
It sounds like they're in your hallway.
Oh, yes, they are. See, you with it.
This
and
is
I'm
a
trying to listen
deleted
to y'all
scene.
and be nosy, but I'm not. I'm trying to multitask, but it is hard. But anyway, the Women of Brewster Place holds a special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like that movie, I used to watch it back to back to back when it first came out. I feel like I know the characters. You know what I'm saying? So, but the ladies, they just did. Now you talk about acting.
Yeah.
Phenomenal acting, like laid it down.
And for it to be that large of a cast of women, and the storylines kind of melted together very well. I remember seeing this for the first time when I was young on TV. And I just, for some reason, I never remembered the first part of it, which was like the really good part that made Oprah the star of the movie because it was centered around her life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, I'm telling
I
you,
didn't know
Oprah is like, the Woman of Brewster Place is kind of centers around Oprah's life until she moves to Brewster Place, and then you meet all of these other women. But this was
I didn't know that because I was trying to figure out like that scene of her getting beat up by her father was so disingenuous in the film. But if it's based on her life, and I know that she did suffer that abuse, like
no, not her real life. I use people real names versus character
You
names.
saying around her character?
Yeah, around her
character's
character's life.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. He was about to do a visual for Oprah. Like, damn, Oprah. But I love this movie so much, especially since I got into the whole first part of it and how Oprah got to Brewster Place. Her character got to Brewster Place, and it really just I love. It was so many different storylines. Cicely Tyson even appeared in this as Robin Gibbons' mom in it, and it was just so much going on. But it was so well done for it to be that huge of a cast, that big of a cast. The
storylines.
Yeah.
Because
this is like a 4-hour film almost.
Yep, and dealing with everything.
It was a mini series. It was shown in 2 parts.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about Brewster's Place that I thought was really, I just thought it was like, when you think about like it put Oprah in not in a new perspective, because I guess I always kind of knew this about Oprah, but like there are those of us out there who, when we make it, like we really go the distance to make sure that whatever our so for Oprah it was TV and film, right? Like that was her area, that was her expertise. And we know that Oprah had a big part in financing like Malcolm X. We know of some of the bigger ones, but what I found interesting about Brewster's Place is when I was doing my research and preparation, do you know that Brewster's Place had a budget of $200 million?
I can't believe it.
And I just want to put that in the context for a second.
I can't believe it.
And right, but here's the thing: The Color Purple was like directed by Steven Spielberg, and although we know that like Oprah was incredibly influential in getting that movie made, that was a theatrically released film,
Mm-hmm.
right? Directed by Steven Spielberg. So that's going to pull in numbers. But The Women of Brewster's Place was a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
It was a made-for-TV miniseries. And not only like was I shocked by the budget that was put into it, which I know probably almost, if not single-handedly, majority came from Oprah. It was produced by her what is it? Harpo Productions.
Yeah.
So I know that maybe not the whole 200 million, but a good portion of that came from Oprah, right? For a TV movie, which honestly,
well,
like,
half
you're never
of that
gonna
was
make
probably just
that money
paying the
back.
castmates.
Huh?
That's what. Half of the money was probably just for
whatever it went to,
salaries.
whatever it went to,
Mm-hmm.
it may have that may absolutely be true. But no matter what it went through,
right?
Like Brewster's Place, their budget swamps all of the other work that we're going to talk about tonight.
Right.
Swamps their budgets. Like in my research, I looked at it when I saw that they put $200 million into this made-for-TV movie where there's no ticket sales involved. Right, you're gonna get some advertising dollars from that, but typically, you're not gonna make that type of money back for a TV movie. It's like Oprah did that just to make sure that there was this moment for like Black women to be represented in a large and like substantial way on television. Because and when this came out, it wasn't a whole lot of that. Right? Like,
but TV typically, people don't realize it, but TV typically, in terms of budgets, can get a little bit more pricier than an actual film, because they'll do a movie for cheap and it turned out great. But in terms of TV, they normally have a better budget because they want to attract the actual sponsorship.
So hold on for a second. Let me just interject with something. There's The Women of Brewster's Place, the film, which then became Brewster's Place, the show.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the show.
I meant
$200 million to do this made-for-TV movie. I think that's astronomical.
No, I understand what you were saying. I'm just saying, typically for TV, they normally give a little bit more, and you don't realize it because they want to make sure they get the sponsorship. So for Oprah to put her production company on this, she probably did, pad that budget a lot more so she could attract better sponsorship. I remember when it came on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of like hoopla about it. She talked about. I remember she brought a lot of ladies on her talk show at the time, and it was a lot of like press around it. And the reason many of us love it because it was done so well. Like it was really, it was long as hell, but it was just. It was done very well.
So many classic scenes, so many classic lines.
Yeah.
And it dealt with it was layered with issues, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
As far as Black women, just dealing with not just racism, right? It didn't just surround that, because we deal with the prejudice in our own communities.
Yeah.
So it dealt with that, how
economics, sexuality, all that.
You left your shades up last night.
When she started throwing all those ingredients at that lady, first of all, that was my favorite character outside of Jack A's character. That old lady was my favorite, because that mug was on for the whole movie. She didn't drop that mug for the whole movie.
Oh, I think she really ain't like them in real life.
Right, exactly.
She played that. Right. She played that.
She came to rehearsal with that mug on.
Exactly.
But I loved all of the different, as you were saying, all of the different storylines. The two lesbians, that was shocking for that time to kind of expose on TV that type of story. But that was done, and it was done well, even when, and I can only call her sister because I remember her from Sparkle. When it was the rape scene, it was still done where it didn't feel like it was ever bashing men, but it was definitely putting men on notice on how we kind of treat women, like the treatment of women, because all these women had really like tough stories. Even Gibbons' character, who was more well off, she still had her struggle with trying to,
But she ain't want it.
she didn't want it. She didn't
She
want
said,
it,
"Put me
right?
in the hood. I want to be.
Right.
I
Was
want
there
to be."
any moment that stuck out for either of you? Like what moment of this film or this series rather stuck out to you?
So for me, it was early on when when she was looking for a place for her and her son, and she came across the old lady that she ended up living with for the next 5 years.
Mhm.
Um,
The
and
Hedebrecht sister.
Yep.
what was it? What did you say?
She was one of the Hedebrecht sisters from Amen.
Oh, okay. So that the characterization of that old woman,
Mm.
to start the film like that, like really pulled me in because I was like, yeah, I know that lady. like it was at least three of them on my block when I was growing up, right? Like it really,
Oh,
like
the older
that's my
lady.
grandmother. When I look, I'm like, yo, like just the sassiness and like the matter of factness and like that that like just like I'm gonna help you and like why would you think anything different? You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Right.
just something about that really kind of pulled me in because like that whole scene with her father was so jarring. It almost pulled me out of the film. Like I don't know if I want to watch this. I don't know if I can watch another.
Well, that first half was
Silly,
tough
yeah,
between her father, her
yeah,
baby father, and her son.
all
Like
of that,
that was
right?
like it was just too. It was a lot.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
that
the
that
son.
that scene really pulled
Yeah.
me in, especially when there's that one scene where you realize like so like they meet, they introduce, you find out, oh, she's found a place to stay, great, and then the next scene it's like 5 years later and watching them interact.
Yeah.
I was really like enthralled with that whole thing. Like that was one of my favorite scenes very early on in the film. The second one was probably the scene where they was talking about the lesbians at the community meeting. I was dying laughing.
Your
Well,
old
I
prune.
agree.
You old prune. I was dead, yo.
What
I
about you, Miss
agree with
Tracie?
both scenes. I'm gonna have to go with the moment. I'm gonna start with because G. Oliver came with two, so I feel like I can do
Go
two
ahead,
too.
do you, boo? Do you,
But
boo?
the first one, I am gonna start with the end of the film. Right,
Mm,
all of the emotion of that scene, that wall,
that
that
wall.
oh,
Mm.
and when they all just child. So just a testament to once you decide something and you make that move and yeah, that whole scene. So I'm gonna say the end of the movie is definitely something that still stands out to me. But also so many great characters. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Because I
There's a
identify
lot to
with
choose
so many
from.
of them.
Yeah.
I personally identify with them.
Mm-hmm.
Even as far as Robin and feeling this pull to go back and to help
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to aid and people looking at you like you're crazy because you're supposed to be going that way. So they looking at
Yeah.
you like you're going backwards. But you just trying to walk in your truth. So all of these, so I'm gonna say, but I gotta pick one damn scene.
No, go
Oh,
ahead.
you
You
know
can
what I
pick
want to
two if
say?
you
You
want
know what
to.
I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say the woman that I know is the Jack A character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am going to say that there are many women
Yeah. Yeah. And
that
that one
hold on
character.
to that. Yes, that are
Yeah.
embodied in that character and that struggle
Yeah.
of finding their self-worth
I
and
remember
looking
seeing an
for that
interview with her.
man.
Yeah. I remember seeing an interview where she talked about that. And I think her image as Jack A, she said that character really embodied what her career has been, trying to drop that Sandra Clark image, and she's a trained actress, and she wanted to do more dramatic roles, but people only saw her from 227 as
Yep.
Sandra Clark. So I think that character really, it was kind of hidden in in that movie with all the other women, but I think you saw her and they put her in red, or they always had her in something bright because you saw that character, and it was like she just wanted to be chosen. She wanted to be
Yep.
chosen, but and it was so heartbreaking to see the pastor just put her out afterwards. Like
But
it
that's some
was,
real. All of that is so real. That's why I said it is.
yeah.
Just the movie was just well. Oh my goodness, yeah, they did
It
that. They
it was
did.
a couple scenes for me um that also, one, when the baby put his finger in socket,
Mm.
Oh
and
yeah.
just
Oh,
watching Lynn Whitfield go through the stages of grief, and then she just left and just got out at some point. That one took me under, but the other one, as you stated, was the Robin Givens, and I forgot his name. The guy from the Five Heartbeats, I think. He
oh, Leon. Oh,
Yeah,
Leon.
Leon.
Oh,
When
honey.
when they took the children to the play,
Yeah,
and
Shakespeare.
the mother was so self-conscious about having all of her children together,
Mm.
uh that made me remember like why I like to be a teaching artist. Because a
Mm,
lot of times people don't have those experiences until they get older, or most times they don't think about exposing children to stuff that they wouldn't normally see. They try to keep children in a safety zone. But that was like, and you saw the mother being in it just as much as the children were in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like she was being exposed at the same time her children was being
Right.
exposed. So you could tell she was like the oldest of the siblings and the mother at the same time. But that scene just took me. It was a lot to unpack in this movie, but
Mm.
that I think Robin Givens' character, I think especially for a lot of us teaching artists, probably stood out the most, or we
Yeah.
could familiarize ourselves the most with
Yeah.
that one.
The
Yeah.
conversation between her and Leon when she first got introduced to that family,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this whole conversation about, like, well, I think Robin Givens' character was essentially saying that she don't care about her children
Yeah, assuming a
because
lot. Yeah.
because of some of the things that the family was going through and dealing with. And there was this really powerful conversation between her and Leon about,
Yeah.
understanding that caring can look different, based on your perspective and based on your upbringing and like where you're coming from. But to think
Yeah.
that because she got so many children and she's living under these certain conditions,
She
or
wants to live like
that
that.
somehow it makes her care any less.
Yeah.
And working in the school system, like, that's one of the battles that I fight a lot,
Right.
is
yep.
is getting people to understand that, like, yo, like, these people just don't have the privilege, the blessing, the resources, whatever you want to call it. Like, they're lacking in an area, and because they just can't do certain things, or they can't
Right.
approach certain things. And so many people come into the school system with these preconceived notions of like what it means to be a good mother, what it means to be a good father, what it means to be a caring parent,
Yeah.
that really get challenged when they get up and close with a lot of the
Uh.
families that we serve. So I like, that was another part of the movie that I really enjoyed, was that conversation where Leon's explaining to her, like, yo, like, I've known people like this my whole life. And
Right.
I can assure you that it's no lack of caring that's going on here. It's just a lack of like
Right.
resources. Yeah.
It
It.
is. I remember being young,
Mm,
and I kind of remember the moment, or the coming of age moment, where I realized that every family was not like mine,
Mm-hmm.
mm, mm.
right? And you start to recognize, oh, well, they have to have a different perspective because they didn't see this
Right. Right.
growing
Right.
up. And it's really hard for people to swallow that, like, everybody didn't have what you had.
And even yeah, it was a lot, and I think people sleep on this movie, or this series, this film, TV, whatever you want to call it. I think it gets slept because you don't see all these social issues in this one film. The other one that stuck out to me, and it reminded me of my uncles. Um, Oprah's son in this, how he treated his mother, but
Mm,
because she
Mm-hmm.
babied him
mm,
this whole time, she never tried to go out and fulfill her life. So she's wasted her whole life. I don't want to say being a mother, but she didn't think about balance, not even her own
Mm-hmm.
needs. But she gave so much to this child that he felt obligated. He obligated her to continue to give, so much so that she lost the home.
Her
Like she
home.
lost her home dealing with him that was
mm,
gifted to them, you
Mm,
know. But
mm.
that stood out to me the most because the tragic thing about her son, like she never sees him again. She never sees her child again, and
Nope.
all that love she gave to him, not to ever see him again. But just understanding we have to nurture our young men. We cannot baby them or pacify them because we can't be mad at them for then growing up acting like her son acted, getting into trouble, not understanding that, he just wanted to be home. He knew he was going to jail. He just wanted to be home and didn't care that she had to then put up their home. Where was she gonna go after that? So that, I think overall, probably that was probably the moment that stood out to me also the most. But this was a hands down, it was a great
Three
contribution.
thumbs up.
Yeah. And
Three
yeah.
Oprah,
thumbs up. Yeah, it's just well done. It
but
really
I have
is.
a
It's good.
question. Do y'all think Oprah could have made it as an actress if she didn't become Oprah the media mogul? Do you think she
Oh,
could have
Absolutely.
most
made it as
definitely.
actress?
Most
Most
definitely.
definitely.
Mm.
Like she deserved her flowers and accolade in the same way I was talking about Whoopi
Okay.
in our last episode. Like yeah, yo,
Oprah kicked
like
in the door, waved in the 4-4.
But do you
mm,
think they would have given her a chance looking like Oprah had
Well,
she
that was
not
the big
been?
thing. There was an interview she did about the color purple,
Hmm.
and she felt like she would not be accepted. And I think when she said she got the call, she was at the track or something trying to lose
She went
weight,
to a fat
figuring that she
camp.
had to
Yeah.
do something. Yeah, and then she realized that it was like, no, we want you as you are. I believe there are many roles that fit for that type of woman.
Mm.
That she would be able, many stories like she did in Women of Brewster Place, like she did in Color Purple. She wasn't Oprah in those moments at all.
Right. Right.
She was not. So I absolutely
mhm.
think she would and she's a worker bee. So she would have, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. 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 So that was Women of Brewster Place. Please watch it. It's a great kind of weekend movie or quarantine movie, binge movie
Watch
to watch
it
through.
Oh yeah, you're
And
gonna need to
this,
give yourself a
for
couple days.
me.
and I actually sit down and watch it in one setting, and it was a lot of stuff. Like the first half of the film, it just I recognized it more because I didn't remember those things happening to her, and realizing all of this stuff came to her, and then she lost it all because I just remember her pulling up to when I
Brewster.
watched it. Right, I just
Mm-hmm.
remember her pulling up to that when they first showed it on TV. And then when I saw it again, it was the other head, but I didn't really pay attention to it. But this was definitely hands down. Watch it. Watch it.
Yeah.
Socially, historically, culturally, it's something you're gonna identify, even as men, me and
Socially,
Yeah, a
George.
lot of the themes are still
Yeah.
relevant
culturally,
today.
Yeah.
Like so many of our films, like so many of our films,
Hmm.
this is another one where like you watch it today and it could have been made today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's really one of those films that show you just when it comes to the
Gentrification.
black experience and like how often things really do remain the same, or repeat themselves.
Right, 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 right. So watch it. Let us know what you think about it, and share it with someone else. Next up, we got A League of Their Own.
woo woo.
There's no
Now,
crying in baseball.
this was a good movie when I was younger. I loved it because I played baseball. I loved it, but when I watched it last week, I just was it it was different watching it because despite it being such a woman empowerment movie, they still had an integration part of it, like
Mhm.
letting the black players play. Like the black women still were relegated to their own little league. Like it
Oh,
wasn't it and it made me think about now the women's movement that we're having now and how it's been usurped by these white actresses and making it their own versus including all women into the struggle. But it was a
what
good,
movement is this?
what you mean?
No, you were saying today. What movement today are you equating this to?
Well, the latest women's movement that we've been having over the last couple years. I don't want
Oh,
to call
Me
it the
Too.
Me Too. Well, I don't want to call it the Me Too movement because it was going on before Me Too started, but it's kind of been taken over by these white celebrities, female
Uh,
celebrities that kind of made it about them versus women.
oh,
Or
the Gucci food, the what Bill Burr say, the Gucci booted white women.
Oh yeah, Birkin. Talking about the bed. Yeah.
He said
uh-huh.
they swung their Gucci booted feet over the fence of oppression.
Yeah.
Mhm. That was
But
classic.
you see that in this as well, but it was I don't want to take away from the fact that it was a good movie, but it
Mhm.
just was I recognized that this time I watched it. Like,
Yeah.
wait, so they just pushed the black women over like the
Mhm.
black men did the black men? I mean, like the white man did the black men? Like,
Yeah.
damn, like,
Oh yeah.
but it
I
Yeah.
mean, it's always sobering, but it is America and it is
yeah,
historically
Mhm.
accurate.
right,
And
right, right.
we have always been given the ass to kiss. So I choose definitely in moments like that to dial into the story. And it is a
Yeah,
good story.
yeah.
And it's funny. And Tom Hanks is a beast.
Yeah, we
Right?
see
The
a
difference
early
is that
Rosie O'Donnell and Madonna, and
Donna come out there.
yeah,
She does a great job.
yeah, yeah. It was a good movie. And like you just said, I had to, as I got probably like halfway through the film, I had to be like, this be entertained by this. Stop looking at stuff through your 37-year-old eyes versus
Yeah, but
when you
even
first watched it.
that, and you do, like, if you're gonna get any enjoyment out of the film, you kind of have to do that.
Hmm.
I know what works for me is that, like, like I appreciate truth,
Uh huh.
even when it's uncomfortable,
Right.
and
Yes.
even when my experience makes it um doubly uncomfortable, right? So
Hmm.
in watching a film like that, it's hard because it gives me, as a black man, it gives me something to think about when you notice, when you see oppression, when you see white supremacy at work. But I appreciate the truth, you know what I mean? And, like, I don't see how you make a film about this particular, any particular subject of that era, and to, like, not be honest about how black people were treated during that time. To me, it would just ring false anyway, and that would
Hmm.
probably make me enjoy the movie even less.
Well,
Because they
because
would have
this
said, "Come
was
on, black people, let's build together."
right, because
And
So
I would have said,
this
"What
was
is this shit?"
historically happened, so it wasn't like they could
yeah,
fudge the truth at all.
yeah,
But
exactly.
it was
Exactly.
just what's happening to me as I'm watching a lot of these films because I used to be a really like I wanted to be an actor so bad and I would just watch films and I would watch any film. But the difference is I'm much older than I was when I first fell in love with films. So watching stuff now, you like, and me even preparing to watch many of these films that I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't seen in years, I'm excited because I just remember I loved, I'm a fan of Rosie O'Donnell, and
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the lead actress name in this.
Oh yeah, the Gina Davis.
Yeah,
Oh
Jana
my God,
Davis.
like,
I'm
I
a
was a
fan
freak
of
for
Jana
Gina
Davis.
Davis as a kid. What? Like, it was like I wasn't even really, I wasn't a kid that was like all that into white women. But
Yeah.
Gina
Oh,
Davis did it for me.
Let me
Ever
find
since The
out.
Fly. Ever since I
Yeah.
saw The Fly, I was
oh,
like,
the
yo, that's a.
flies what did it for you.
I was,
Right. Exactly.
yo, I was like, yo, like this, yo, that little redhead white girl is all right. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
so.
I found, yeah, she was one of the reasons I liked the movie because Madonna, I really wasn't ever a fan of hers, and everybody else was kind of a no
I don't
name
like
other than Tom Hanks.
Madonna.
No,
Well,
I
old
never really
Madonna.
was.
I don't know about new Madonna. New Madonna is a wild girl, but old Madonna used to have my heart. A material girl.
Yeah.
Madonna, like a virgin Madonna and League of Their Own Madonna. Yeah, they the Madonnas that I can
Well, in terms of
bang
knowing who
with.
Speaking
she
of like a
was,
version, yo, we gotta
I
have a
didn't.
Quentin Tarantino episode.
Yeah, we
Oh
can.
yeah.
We can.
I just thought about that. Like, there's a whole like dissertation on like a version in one of Quentin Tarantino's films.
Yes,
That
but you can
like
call it a real nigga show.
Oh, right. The real nigga show.
Oh, Tracie, because that's all they say. Nigga, nigga, nigga. Nigga, nigga,
Nigga.
nigga, nigga, nigga. He's a nigga.
I
You
think he
so
like it.
fast.
I think we were talking about that before. I was like, I
Yeah,
think
we
he get
did talk
turned on
about
by
that.
that. Yeah.
But yes, League of Their Own is a great story.
Yeah.
And yeah, go white women. Go get it.
Go white women.
Yeah.
So the next movie is and this movie is on here because of me. I've disclosed to my two co-hosts that I secretly love Dolly Parton. I probably can only name two of her songs, but I really love
yo, it's
Dolly
fine,
Parton.
yo. You don't have to come with the disclaimer. Like any
Love what
any
she's
black
saying for.
any black person our age who had a black mama has seen 9 to 5. Like this was something I saw as a child.
Me too.
I know.
I
I saw
remember
this
this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw this as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I like all the black women in my life like this film. You know, the boss, the rat poison. And it makes sense because despite the fact that there's no women of color in it, the truth of the matter is the experience itself, I think resonated with a lot of black women at that time.
Even though they were there, but they weren't like prominent characters. Yeah.
Like that whole idea of being a secretary and like having to endure knowing that you may have been smarter and you may have been more in tune with the position and even the business, and being denied access to like let yourself to being denied the opportunity to grow because you were a woman or you were
woman.
In our people's case because you were a black woman.
Right.
So like even though there's no women of color in the movie, like it's not hard for me to fathom that a lot of black women at that time probably really identified with this film.
And it was a lot of nuance in this film in terms of the themes that you're talking about now, in terms of when she took over and when they had kidnapped him and she took over. You know, a lot of the stuff that they had added to their workplace, like daycare, they allowed women to do split shifts so they could be there for their children. And it was more diversity in the office. And the office almost looked brighter once that was going on. And then he came
that's
back.
What women do.
Yeah.
Period. Pooh. That's
so this is definitely a women's history movie because it definitely it shows us the significance and what women bring to workplace environments.
And it's funny. It's funny.
Yeah, it's right.
It was funny. It was funny.
Right. It was it was hilarious to me. But it was
funnier than that damn Bridesmaids. I'll tell you that.
We ain't even get there.
We didn't even get there
yet. But I'm pissed that's on the list.
Hollywood swinging.
But I wanted, in choosing this list, it wasn't stuff that you necessarily like because we don't deal in whether we like something or not on here. It's just normally what sticks out to us and what the impact of it was. But this movie, like it was funny, but these were three well, they wasn't older women at the time, but I looked at them as three older women because when I watched it, I was so young. But it just really showed the significance and the impact that women have on our culture. And if given the opportunity, they could excel just like black people could excel, but specifically in this case, women, and how we can't take them for granted. And you might not want to, hit on her ass because she might got a gun in her purse. So don't, you
And
know,
not only that, it exposes, like, I feel like I was talking about some shows, just some things just don't age well because
yeah.
we are in a time where we are understanding, like, dude, it's just disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way you can treat someone like that, and the way women have been used and abused. And not saying that, there are men that have not been, but women most
Right.
definitely.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so and then you figure out that women couldn't have a bank account till like 1970 something.
Mm-hmm. Or
And
own a home or
exactly, so all of that comes into
inherit a
play.
home.
So during this time, women were really like, hey, I can do
Yeah.
this. So this film speaks to that, and it speaks to Karma.
Yeah.
Is Brittany, bitch, she came back,
Yeah.
and we will get you together.
We're gonna
And
get
what
you
they say,
together.
so yeah, so a great film all the way around.
Yeah,
And
and
nostalgic. I love the aesthetic.
the fact that it was a comedy, but it had such a serious like foundation and undertone to it, made it that much more brilliant to me. So,
Yeah, but I mean
watch
that's
9 to 5.
comedy for you though.
Yeah, yeah,
Like they're
yeah.
like some of the best comedy is rooted in that.
Right.
I agree.
A lot of pain and hurt. So
I was gonna say truth, but pain and hurt goes to.
so the next film, George don't like it. Bridesmaid.
I didn't just
Uh,
yeah. Hold on. I just
you just said you didn't like it.
You came out swinging, George. You can't take
Yeah,
it
you
back.
did.
did I say that? All
You
right,
did.
fine,
You
fine,
did.
fine.
Yeah.
I ain't think it was all that.
I'm just getting into sketch comedy, and a lot of these women were sketch comedy artists. Like a lot of them were on Saturday Night Live and those types of films, and we're just being introduced to Melissa McCarthy
Mm.
and her being an actress. But this film
There's
was,
some white shit if I ever seen it.
but it was like dumb humor, and sometimes you just want to be entertained. Sometimes you just want to laugh. You don't want anything serious, and it was a
It was
lot
one
of
of those mindless
yeah,
chuckles. Like I
yeah,
really there's something about Mary.
yeah.
But
Like
except
that is
it's something about Mary was good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was excellent. This film, I told you, I'm not a fan of toilet humor. When anybody's pooping, I just, it's just not my
I'm
thing. But
laughing right now.
people love it. Like it sells. So I know why they did it. But the film in total, I mean, the concept, it was good. They did their thing.
Yeah, I'm literally laughing while you're saying it because typically I don't even like talking about bathroom anything, but it was just a build up to it, and I think honestly, I'm not saying they're the only ones that know how to do sketch comedy, but these white people they have a market for that brand of comedy and that style of comedy that just it's funny to me. It's because it's dumb, but it had me laughing. That I mean, George, really, really,
I'm sorry, yo. Like, stop
really,
caping for this bullshit ass film.
because I felt it was funny. I thought it was
So
stupid,
look,
hilarious.
yo. Humor is humor. I'm not knocking your brand of comedy. Okay, first of all, let's be clear. Sketch comedy been around much longer than any of these white women. And
No, I'm not
and
saying they invented it. I'm saying
I
I
know.
had just got
You didn't even
into
let
it.
me. You didn't let me
I'm just
finish.
because
I
I
didn't say
wanted to
that you
clarify
said
it.
that you. I didn't say that you said that. All I'm saying is that we have had some greats when it comes to sketch comedy. Richard Pryor was a sketch comedy artist. Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to go back on what I said.
But those are men. We're talking
I'm
about
not
women's
going to
history
sit
right
here and
now.
say that I did not enjoy this film.
Uh,
It was I was, you know, there's the men, you know, it's like there's patriarchy and then there's racism, right? Like, so there's the racial aspect and then there's the patriarchal. And as I've gotten older, I realized that, as I've gotten older, I do believe that patriarchy is probably the greater evil of the two.
mm-hmm.
I have come to a conclusion where I think that patriarchy has actually done more damage
It's more
to
been
our
long lasting.
society as in the overall than racism has. I do believe that. This film was funny. It was. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't laugh. I didn't find the jokes funny and the situations humorous. But Melissa McCartney was nominated for an Oscar for her role in this film.
Yeah.
This film is credited as being the film that, like, woke America up to the potential of female comedians.
Mm-hmm.
I have a huge problem with that. I have a huge problem with Melissa McCartney winning or being, not, she didn't win, being nominated for an Oscar. When I think about Della Reese in Harlem Nights.
Yeah.
Okay. Or I think about I'm trying to think of some other comedic, like, women, and even like the fact that Eddie Murphy has never been like Eddie Murphy has never been nominated for an Oscar until I think he was for, like, Dreamgirls, or, like, not Dreamgirls, or Cadillac Records, or whatever movie.
Dreamgirls. It was
Dreamgirls. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, for Tom Hanks to have never been, you know, like, and I can even bring white men into it, like Tom Hanks, Robin Williams, never considered for an Academy Award for any of their comedic roles. Mm-hmm. There was something that was really, like, it really just kind of, like, was tugging on me about when I was doing the research for the film. Like, I usually, like, when we are preparing for the podcast, I will watch the film and then I will do some background research on the film. Mm-hmm. And I remember when Bridesmaids came out, I did not see it in the theater. I saw it much later for the first time. I remember enjoying it. I remember even then thinking to myself, like, what is all the motherfucking hoopla about? And then watching. So here's my theory. Like, the way that we talk about how, like, mediocre white men are, like, catapulted to the top of success when they really are not, like, they're really not deserving. They're quite mediocre. And because they're white, they get to take that mediocreness and act as if it's the cream of the crop and they are the best of the best. And that's how I felt about this film in relation to women.
Well, mediocrity,
like, I thought that this was a mediocre
in general, it wins a lot in Hollywood. And aside from me finding humor and loving acting and all these and selecting these, I knew it would be a controversy conversation, because one of the films that I did not put on here was Girls Trip. And comparable, that movie would be comparable to
that was
a Girls
way
Trip.
Funnier to me. And that had the bathroom humor in it too. She peed on it, like a character peed on herself in the middle of the film. Like, that's a perfect example. And I was just like,
But at some point, we have to. One of the things, and another show that I do, I got into the same argument on that show. One thing that we have to stop doing is putting their awards at the top of our success list. So if I win an Oscar, I've made it. But if I win an NAACP, I'm hood famous. Like, something like that. We have to stop putting their award shows at the top because they're seen as national and international awards. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop making their standards of success our standards of success.
It's
And
hard to do that though. I feel like in a lot of cases, I think it's hard to do that when you don't have the same type of prestige that comes with, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would be fine with accepting solely, like, you give me nothing but NAACP Image Awards if it carried the same weight, if it carried the same esteem, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
It does. Not to white people,
because
but it does.
No, it does not. It does not, but because we are essentially still playing in that sandbox. So here's the thing.
No, we're not. But we put that esteem on it. We put that value on it.
We do not. The industry does. The industry that controls who gets paid what and the money that they get paid. Like, typically, once you win an Academy Award
anymore. We're no longer in that space. We're
no longer in that space.
We're not in that space because we have
no one walks to a producer with an NAACP award and demands a $20 million paycheck for their next film. That is absolutely standard when you win an Academy Award.
But we have too many independent filmmakers and TV directors and playwrights and screenwriters now that we don't have to be in their sandbox anymore.
Like, all of the most renowned ones are still financed by the Hollywood industrial complex, which is mostly run by whites still. We're making inroads. That's true. But for all of the success of Ryan Coogler, he's backed by Disney.
Okay.
So, like, what does that mean? Though we have one fully independent Black-owned studio. It's Tyler Perry, and his films don't do the types of numbers that these things do. And then you can't go into a Tyler Perry production and demand $20 million because you have an Oscar. Like, that's what Monique is fighting about.
And if
you win an Academy Award, you get to.
But we have to stop. We have to stop.
Demand top dollar.
But we have to stop. We have to stop putting that level of prestige on stuff that don't value us.
First of all, we are not the ones who's setting the level of prestige on
any
of
it. We are the same way we just. Okay.
Am I because I don't understand why y'all won't let me talk. Now listen,
because you're not. You got to jump in there and talk.
Maybe you was on mute because this is the first time we heard from you. I was waiting for you to interject.
I'm saying be quiet. That's what I'm saying. Be quiet for a second, because both of y'all is doing a lot. So wait a minute. So this is what I want to say, Nate. You are speaking to present and future.
Yes.
George is definitely speaking to past and present, right?
Yeah.
Because we definitely, absolutely, if you're talking about making the kind of numbers that the Hollywood machine produces, you cannot do that. One in a million, right? It does happen. I'm not saying that there's not exceptions to every rule, but it is not the standard.
Right.
So as we move forward, it is understanding that we definitely need to stop putting so much emphasis on it. And we definitely need to support our own so that they do the kind of numbers and we turn the machine into our machine. But that's not our reality. So what George is saying, in reality right now, the BET Award is slick. And I'm happy to have it. But when they talk about holding weight with the machine that's really running this thing, it doesn't hold the same weight. So, but I also agree with, we definitely need to just pull out. I'm wholeheartedly with boycotting altogether, and
that's what we do to our own stuff, though. We do that to our own things. How many times have you watched the BET Awards or the NAACP Award and somebody has to accept an award on somebody's behalf? We already boycott our own stuff. That's why it doesn't get the ratings. That's why it doesn't get the sponsorship. That's why it doesn't get the time slots when it is televised. You know, how many times does that happen? And that's why I don't even watch award shows, because nobody shows up to the award shows anymore. You know, they bash, you know, Beyonce and Jay-Z and them for never showing up to any of the Black awards, but they're always front and center at the Grammys. You know,
Because that's
but
what pay their bills.
and again, they don't get paid to be on those platforms no more than they get paid to be on the other awards. I'm just saying, at some point, like now, we have to start valuing or starting our own. If you don't think the BET Awards, because BET is no longer owned by a Black person, it's owned by white people. So that means BET is going to become the next, you know, whatever. But at the same time, we have to, at some point, we have to start that. We have to start it now. We can't keep putting things off for future. We have to start valuing those things right now. Like, I knew
I
putting
agree we have to
Bridesmaids is.
start,
Mhm.
but having to start implies that we have not begun yet. That means that we're still a part of the Hollywood machine.
And I'm not oblivious or blind to those facts, but we've seen too many advances in our own storytelling. And yes, a lot of that has been funded by white machines, Netflix and a lot of these other streaming networks. But we are already at a space right now where we are writing our own stories, we're producing our own stories, we're directing our own stories. We have enough, and that whole old story where we have enough money in our community to start, but those things are truthful. And we keep putting things off for when it's a better time to do it. And right now we have to just strip ourselves. Just like I stopped buying a lot of the name brand clothing or certain things that I used to love, but I'm saying I'm walking around with somebody else's name on me. You know,
I
I
have
could put
always
that
hated
same, yeah, like, but we at some point you just have to stop buying it. Stop buying it. And then they'll realize this chunk of our finances are gone. These people are no longer feeding us or
Branding.
fueling us. And stop showing up to the awards. You know, I hated when Jada Pinkett went on this big rant because Will Smith wasn't nominated that year. Like, I hate stuff like that because you put so much emphasis on how important that award show. But what awards was he nominated for that year?
Mm.
Or was you nominated for the? Let me hear about those things. Now, let's promote those things. But that's just, you know, and I knew by putting some of these on here today, it would spark these conversations. But I
And that's
want
pretty
that
much
to
the
happen.
storyline of Bridesmaids, ladies and gentlemen. It is the plight
Right.
of the
It's a
Black Hollywood
mediocre film that
yeah,
you'll love.
Right. Compared
with
to you know, the other things that come out that are as funny, if not funnier, if not way more funnier. You know, let's start putting our attention on that. Like, I watched that for free. I didn't pay to watch Bridesmaids because I'm not going to continue to support it. But
Mhm.
you know, I thought the shit was
And I had to
funny.
pay to watch it.
Well,
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I needed to. You know, I had seen it before, but it was a couple years ago. I didn't think highly of it, so I didn't really I didn't think highly of the film the first time I saw it, which I did not pay to
That
see.
makes me want to go
But
back and say, I got to see that again.
but in order to be up to date and like in
right.
order to like prepare for tonight,
I got you.
I went back to watch it and it wasn't available on like one of the streaming networks that I already paid for. So no, I
I got
paid
you.
$3.99 to Amazon to rent that bullshit.
And we
So,
gonna
Jay
write that off
Oliver,
next
you
year.
are a Boy Scout over there.
You are. You are.
Your team is prepared. Let me say that. And
I
shout
mean,
out to
I just want to be, like we talk about these films
you.
and honestly, like we don't talk about, the plots and the movie devices so much as we talk about, but that's our angle. We talk about the social and social political aspect of these films. So because of that, when I usually go back and watch stuff, I'm watching it from that perspective, which is why I also do the research. Like up until yesterday, I had no idea that anybody had been nominated for an Academy Award for that. Like it's not like, and keep in mind, like the Academy Award typically does not, like people don't get nominated for comedy very often. It's very, very far and few between. They have not
that part is
instituted.
never televised. That category is rarely televised.
No, it's not that. No, that category doesn't exist in the and like she was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress nomination. Nate, not a comedic category. It doesn't exist in the Academy Awards. There's no comedic category.
No.
Okay, so that's why comedians typically, for the most part, in comedic roles, do not get nominated because comedy is typically seen. I don't know what the idea behind. Like, I think that as a stage actor, I think that genuinely making people laugh is probably one of the hardest things to do. I have seen people break tears over some of the most bullshit performances that I've ever seen. But to really to inspire laughter in a crowd, I think is one of the more difficult aspects of acting.
But that shows you just how not attached to this art form.
Well, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that they have to shadow my, like, they have to go along with my opinion. I'm just gonna leave it at what I know.
Many people have made that argument because if it was included, many of the films that we know and love would probably be included, and that's probably why it doesn't have its own category. But typically, like, you understand the people who vote for these things, how unattached they are to the system, the art form, and they're more about the Hollywood standard, what is popular, what is the prestigious, what is the standard, quote unquote, the standard. But that's why I stopped watching award shows a very long time ago. I still watch the NAACP awards. I'll watch the Kennedy Center Honors, stuff like that. But I rarely, unless it's a performance that's I understand. Groundbreaking.
I get that. I understand it. I don't think that the Academy Awards exist in one of those places where we can just, as a people, just say if we stop supporting it, it's just going to go under. Like they were thriving long before they even allowed us to let us in. So I think if we poured all of our support tomorrow for the Academy Awards, I don't really think it would make a difference. Like, we could put all our weight behind the NAACP Awards, but the fact of the matter is these actors and actresses that win NAACP Awards are not going to the NAACP to get paid for their next role. They're
that's the part of the argument that I hate. I hate that part of it because we speak it out of existence even before we allow it to exist.
It's not about speaking into or out of existence. Like, this is just the reality.
I understand truth. I understand truth, but I also understand the power of words. And when you put words out there, it makes it have to happen that way. But it has to seek out that mission of the time.
It's not that it has to happen that way. It's like, unless the NAACP is thinking about going into the film business, I don't know if their thing is ever going to hold weight. Like the NAACP it's the Image Awards. They have a number of categories. Like, the fact that they give out some awards to actors and actresses is a small subset of what the entire Image Awards is all about. It's not even an award show that's specifically for actors and actresses and people in entertainment.
It doesn't have to be that, but we could build our own. We could build our own programming or our own platform. They're all nonprofits. They're all foundations from big name people, whatever. We can do that for ourselves. For me, it's just we put so much weight on what white people do.
They could just get the fuck out the way. Like, they could just get the fuck out of the way. Like Tracie said it earlier, like when we were talking about Bridesmaids and we were talking about A League of Their Own, like, she made the comment, like, white people be doing their thing. And we don't have a problem telling them when they doing their thing. And
why are you angry? Why are you angry
when they doing their thing?
Why are you angry though?
Huh?
Why are you angry?
Why wouldn't I be angry? Like literally, let's look at this from this perspective. On this show, we've already acknowledged, like, we brought two in a show where we almost exclusively center our conversations on Black projects and Black actors and actresses. We have already established why we brought 2, 3 white centered films into our conversation because we respect the work. We respect the work. We respect the League of Our Own. We respect 9 to 5. We respect Bridesmaids and what it has introduced into the popular culture, what it has done to move the entire women's movement forward. We respect that. Why can't they just do the same? Why does it matter whether we start an award show or they start an award show? Why not this? Let's put everybody on the same playing field and just say, listen, we're going to nominate.
That's been the argument, and they've chosen not to do that for so long. They've chosen not to do that. Okay. So I understand. I get what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I am just saying I think it's time for us to stop trying to be a part of that. Many of these actors, we see them on the red carpet. They spend all of this money that they don't recoup by being on these award shows to be a part of it, and often they're just spectators.
Can I just stop this for a moment to acknowledge the fact that according to the trades, the late Chadwick Boseman has won I think Best Actor for Ma Rainey. Mm-hmm. I just want to put that in there.
Oh, come through! I see it,
and I'm all for people being acknowledged and celebrated for their accomplishments. I just want us to be in a space where we have as much say in what happens. Because we have many people. Chadwick Boseman just got into this industry. He's technically a baby compared to a Cicely Tyson, who's never won any of those awards. James Earl Jones, we've never seen him on the stage for any of those awards. You spoke about Eddie Murphy never being on the stage for any of those awards. I'm just saying at some point, let's just do it now. Let's start that process now. Let's do it now and begin to honor people. And it doesn't have to be, we could start a foundation where, it is helping to, fund a lot of these films. A lot of these people are now you're hearing about more celebrities starting to invest in other people's films. That's becoming now the staple of how Black Hollywood or the Black arts movement is starting to be funded again. But I'm not in disagreement with, let's get rid of the Oscars. I didn't say any of that because they're going to do them regardless. But how about we begin to support our own? And it doesn't have to be the Image Awards or the NAACP or BET. It don't have to be just them. But we can start our own foundations that continue to help us out. Because many of us, we need that. We're going to need that shine at some point if we ever get to that level. I'm not, disagreeing with you. I don't like the argument that says, well, the NAACP ain't funding. Well, it's honoring people. Many of these actors have an NAACP award. Many of the ones who sit in the Oscars or the Grammys or whatever, they sit in those audience just watching other people be awarded. If they
but
even
my babies can't eat honor.
Say it again.
My babies can't eat honor.
I'm saying that they're not even getting honored.
Tell them again.
That's my whole argument. That's part of my whole argument. Like they're just sitting in the audience, so they actually are behind because they're not even getting honored. They're getting a couple photos on red carpets, but they're not even a part of the system. So why do we put so much emphasis on something that that excludes us or lets only a few
they
of us?
Probably give good ass gift bags. Maybe they probably give good ass gift bags, yo.
Yeah, probably do give good ass business.
Yo, they probably
do they sell that gift bag?
You know what? Oh, I love you for trying to bring
NAACP, they probably get a Coca-Cola.
Cause they be you know what my problem is, Nate. My honest to God problem with it is that they be lying. They be lying. When they sit there, like, and that's my ultimate problem. Like, racism is such an infectious disease, yo, that they just be sitting there lying. Like when people
give me a complete thought. Who lying?
Whoever be deciding who gets nominated for roles and who wins and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a politics game.
It's not politics. They be lying. They be lying. Politics is something else. These people be lying. When a Regina King gets overlooked, nigga, you just lying. You just lying. You know what I'm saying? Like when Denzel gets overlooked, nigga, you just lying. And then because Chad, you know what I'm saying, and we all know what the deal is. Like, you know, Chadwick Boseman passed away, and they love to make good on, like, but they be lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I find. These are people who at the end of the day claim to love this craft. And they just be up there, lying, yo. Like, they just be up there lying. And
but
like
the
I
fact
just
that
be
we
like,
see
yo,
them
you gotta
lying,
look at this.
we still go back every year hoping that they choose us.
No, it's not even that we hoping. Like, it's not like
Then
I'm
what
hoping
is
they
it then?
choose us. What it is nigga, like, why you keep lying? Like when I
You still go back hoping that they choose
when I
the next
confront
year.
a liar in my personal life, if I have to confront someone I know to be lying, I'm not confronting them hoping they tell the truth. I'm like, nigga, why you lying? Like, I'm not hoping you tell the truth. I'm just I'm like, nigga, why are you lying? Why you lying? Why you sitting here lying?
I hear
Why
that
you
argument a lot.
always lying?
But
Why?
people must enjoy the lie because they keep going back. They keep wanting to be a part. They keep showing up, hoping that they're gonna get their moment.
Like I said, like Tracie said, I think Tracie said it best. Like, yo, like you can't pay your bills, you can't eat hope.
Well, you're not eating.
Unfortunately, yo, like that award show is very, very well intertwined.
But if you don't even get chosen as a nominee, how the hell are you eating from it? How are you eating from that?
Well, if you don't get chosen as a nominee, I mean, no, you don't. But for a lot of actors and actresses, as I understand it, award shows are networking events.
I was going to say, just being there.
So just being there, you get access to people that you wouldn't normally have access to every day. As quiet as it's kept, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even a Chadwick Boseman may not have had the ability to tell his agent to call, like, Steven Spielberg, I got an idea I want to talk to you about. You know what I mean? Like, we all typically seem to think that everybody in Hollywood, and you in Hollywood. But no, it's levels even within that shit. So for a lot of actors and actresses, and having lived in LA for some time and having been able to really kind of brush shoulders and talk to people in the industry, like, a lot of them go because it's a networking opportunity. It's an opportunity to meet the people face to face.
Here's the thing, Nate. If I go to the NAACP Awards, I'm gonna meet John Lewis.
I see, and I really think it's
oh my goodness.
I really don't find it funny because we keep putting ourselves in that situation, and then we laugh. We still continue to laugh at the things that we own without having any. You know what? Let's just go on to wait.
Well, what do we own?
No, Nate. Wait, let me say this. Wait, no, please, Jesus, please. No, I'm not laughing no more. Look,
Nate, why are you so mad?
This is real. Look at my avatar.
I'm not mad. I just want us to do better. I don't want us to stay in the same circle.
But no, Nate, you are absolutely right. And the goal is definitely to get there. But what we are saying is just in the reality right now, the people who you need to be in the room with are not necessarily. Now, if you have a different train of thought, you don't even want to be in that room, right?
Right.
But many of us are still holding on to a certain standard. So what you're saying is absolutely right. So no, I was making a funny, but I never yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I totally agree, but we need to just boycott all the things. But I think we need to leave the NFL. I think we need to leave every damn where, to be honest.
It's just
and,
for
and,
me.
And just to Nate, to what Tracie just said, I believe that as well. Like, don't get it twisted that I don't feel like we should do a mass exodus of, like, all of our talent, all of our resources. Like, I would be the first one to sign up for some shit like that if that was on the table.
But I mean, at some point, aren't
the
we
Baltimore Black Arts District?
Right. But how
Support
many of
it.
us are taking it seriously though? Like how many of us
I
are
am.
right?
All
It's
of
a
the artists are, but are we enough is the question. And I think that's the question when it comes to a lot of things.
Mhm.
It's like, so let's take the Baltimore Black Arts District, right? Like, I don't know a black artist in Baltimore that's not going to support that initiative,
I
right?
do.
Like,
I
Mhm.
plenty
I don't. But even, and my point
You
is that,
do?
right, like you do, Nate. I like, hey, hold on,
For
before
real,
we get to
Nate,
that,
you do?
like,
Dude, we know plenty of them that will not support it. That's going to go to Micah. That's going to go to Center Stage. That's going to go to the white theaters because they're going to get paid. Because it's a feeling I'm gonna go get
Well, we
paid over.
can't worry about that.
I'm
We
not
got to
worried
keep
about.
building.
Y'all speaking about the reality of it. I'm just saying not everybody is going to support it.
So
And the
here's
fact
my thing.
supporting it,
I think that in what you're saying, Nate, I think that that's absolutely true. But I think that that's also going to be tempered with those who might still take work at a Center Stage or some of those other places, but will still find a way to support the Black Arts District. So like I could go and do 4 shows at Center Stage and take part of what I receive from that and donate it to the Black Arts District, right? Like I do think that the Black Arts District is one of those things that we're going to see a swell
so,
of support from our artist community into that space.
Mhm.
The question
I'm speaking
is,
from a place of where
is it
what
going to be enough?
I think if we really did the work, if what you're saying, if
Mm-hmm.
you really continue to work across the board, but put your focus on building up that one. And for example, our Black Arts District that's being proposed and being planned and being strategized right now. If the plan was for us to continue to work and take our money from over here and put it over there, that whole idea of bringing back Black Wall Streets again.
Mm-hmm.
If we really commit to that, it is possible. But there are
I
plenty of people
agree.
that
Yeah.
I'm not until I see Oprah put some money in it, I ain't going over there. Like until we get to that space, we're gonna always be here waiting for the day that we can choose the greater portion for ourselves.
No,
Well, what I tell, oh, go ahead.
I think that buy-in, like I don't think that that's anything that is specific to like Black folk. I think that anytime that you're trying to raise ground economic support around anything, it gives everybody a sense of a, a sense of hope in a particular project when you see someone of note investing in that. From an economic standpoint, I think that that's important, right? And I don't think that that's anything that's relegated to the Black community. I think that all economic or financial investments work that way.
But they are watching what we're doing on our level. For
Well,
them
let
to
me say
invest, they're
this.
watching.
Let me say this. It is absolutely many people lack vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
When and it's exactly what I tell my son all the time. Like, yo, you can't control nobody but yourself.
Right.
So the more people like us, the more like-minded people that come together and
Mm-hmm.
continue to speak boldly and say we should walk out and continue to walk it like we talk it, then
Right.
I believe more people will see. So I think that is the solution, is to continue to have conversations like this and encourage it while also understanding the reality that we living in. So when we talk about a Black Arts District, yes, I'm going to support it. I'm going to share it. I'm going to, the same way I share, the same way I share the Artist Exchange, the same way I share
Mm-hmm.
G. Oliver Show, the same way I'm going to do all of that. So the more people who do that and get the
Mm-hmm.
word out, I believe that's how you start to change, and that's the best we can hope for right now.
Yeah, I get it. I think for me, I just want more positivity and doing it, and not just sitting and waiting, or second guessing or hesitating. And I'm speaking from my own experience, just watching how I see people move, and even
Mhm.
myself, how I've chosen, I'm just getting out of a space of, let me go over here and play with these white artist organizations and get their method and see, and then like, no, because they not really banging for me. So why invest my talents in what they're doing when I can just either build on my own or support things that you know are for me by us. But again, that's the whole purpose of. That's why this isn't just a yay or nay. I like this. I don't like this. It get three rotten app. Like I didn't want to build this show to be that. Like really discussing like the internal aspects of these films and highlighting the things that are still problematic. Or things that we do need to change, things that we do need to you know, improve. But
Give it
yeah.
two steps, a twist, and a kiss.
So the last film on the list for today
yo, ready to
is,
move on to that shit.
Yes.
because we're making good time today. This not a 5-hour show today, so I'm trying to stick to it.
Yeah.
But Waiting to Exhale, and again, this was a different type of lineup because it wasn't a lot of these things seemingly don't have a lot of problematic things attached to it, or
Mhm.
any controversy. But when you dig a little bit deeper, you find things that may be an issue. And I think this last film was one of those ones. I think like Woman of Brewster Place that did not have any issue. You know, it was a black uh, book, Waiting to Exhale, that it came from. The screenwriter was black, the director was black, the cast was black, and it was just, I think, across the board, it just was a good film.
My man Forrest Whitaker putting that out of work in the
Yeah,
director's chair.
he is a whole idiot. But yeah,
No,
but
I
go
say
ahead.
that. I say that with all like reverence
Mhm,
because I did not know that Forrest Whitaker
that he
like
directed it.
yeah. So like
Mhm,
this is one that came out like I was relatively young. I remember seeing it as a youngster several times because it was like a staple in my house.
right.
Um, and but I did not know until I was doing some research. I didn't know that this was Forrest Whitaker's like directorial debut.
Mm,
Um, which is really just a credit to him, honestly.
yeah.
Like I cannot not make fun of the eye, but yeah, he put that eye to work
He
in
did
the director's
that.
chair.
He did that. He did that.
For it to be an all women's cast, the only thing that I did not like about the film, because my mother made me read the book as punishment, like it was part of my
Oh,
punishment.
You
And
like
know
that.
how to act. Read this.
no, I had messed up in school, and she made me, like, she had the book and just made me read that book. That was my day of punishment, but it wasn't the same story. So I don't think they thought Whitney could pull off being the lead. Uh, and so her character and what's her name?
And,
Angela Bassett's character were somewhat different. So Angela Bassett would have been like behind Whitney in terms of the lead or whatever. But I mean, it's a film that I watch every New Year's because it's a New Year Christmas type of, or more of a New Year type of movie. So that's kind of my ritual every
mm,
year, to watch it because it kind of brings into the new year.
okay.
Um, but in terms of like what these women dealt with in the film, it was kind of all of them dealing with different types of relationship issues. Um, and the men did not look good in this at all. Like they didn't. They played themselves as they thought this was going to propel them. Outside of Gregory Hines, who was like the good guy in the movie, but in terms of it being a woman ensemble piece, I think this was out of all the ones that was on this lineup. I think was one of my favorites. It is my favorite. I guess I'll have to choose this one.
Well, in fairness, the men this was a very woman centered story. The men ain't have a whole lot to work with.
No, literally, it's many scenes, but I we have an episode coming up where we're talking about women singers who turn into these actors, and we see Whitney kind of being one of the central characters in this, and it's amazing to me who somebody who has a talent over here that's astronomical when they enter the world. Like we see Oprah in this story, and I think Vanessa Williams and Dolly Parton, and these singers or these entertainers over here come over into the world of acting, and I don't think this was Whitney's one of her best roles, but she did pretty good and held her own with these other three women who were
Well, now
phenomenal.
we know that she was high as all get out during the time. Like, no, that's what we know that to be true.
Right.
That it was a very rough time in her life, and she still did the damn thing.
Yeah.
But you see a difference between then and a bodyguard.
And she was much younger than a bodyguard too.
Exactly, earlier years. So, but she really did. She brought it to the table. As a Black woman, I remember, I believe when the film came out, I was in my college days, if I'm not mistaken, when it first came out, because the soundtrack was all the buzz.
Yeah.
That was the lead thing.
It's like the greatest movie soundtrack of all time, ain't it?
Yeah. So that was that.
Next to the bodyguard, that was, and again, that was.
I don't know. No. The Bodyguard had.
It's a great soundtrack. Don't do that.
No, yeah. I remember the Bodyguard had like. Well, first of all, like let me stop lying. Like I remember the Bodyguard soundtrack from front to back. I just remember that there was like a couple of Whitney songs on the Bodyguard soundtrack that was like lit.
It was mostly
the whole Waiting to Exhale. Waiting to Exhale was like an album.
Well, but the Bodyguard was mostly
put the wrong
Whitney.
songs with the wrong scenes, though. That's what I didn't understand about Waiting to Exhale.
They was making it too literal. I think they were trying to be too literal with the song, but it didn't.
Well, realistically,
I'm still trying to figure out
where they probably should have stuck with what most films in that situation do, and is like, use original or already existing music for the film, and then just release the soundtrack as a separate entity, right?
Well, I think
American Gangster was a great film, but could you imagine if like tracks from American Gangster, the album, the Jay-Z album, had made its way into the film? That would have been horrible scoring.
That's one of the greatest albums ever, though. That's a great.
And I think they knew, because Whitney was involved and Babyface was producing the soundtrack, that they knew that they had something that, we got to include this in the film. And I just don't think that was needed. I think that the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack probably for the film benefit would have worked better if they had just released it as, inspired by this film, the way that we've seen other things come out. But it doesn't
they saw her
reference.
They saw her success with the Bodyguard, and they wanted to make sure
that's totally possible.
Along with it, because the album too, Waiting to Exhale, was its own entity anyway. Like you don't even think about it being a part of the story because it didn't fit in with the story.
Right.
Well, no, they put the wrong songs at that songs. There are definitely songs that go. Yes, exactly. It was not lined up well, is what I'm saying.
It wasn't.
No, but the film itself.
It was like push play. Just push play. Everything. We just gonna start from the top and work our way through.
Right here for song number 6.
Right.
She got on 6 rings.
Right. She got
on 6 rings, and her daughter 6. So we gonna put this right here, and it's craziness.
So I know we coming out of February in terms of the month of love, but dealing with the relationships from this movie, did any of these relationship issues seem real to you? Like, did they come across as real or not so real or not so believable?
I can't speak on this.
You can't. You've never been one of those gentlemen.
You never been.
No, I've never left a black woman for a white woman. No.
You never growled on sex. That wasn't you. That wasn't.
Sorry, that has not in the way. Not. I will say this. Not the way it was done in the film. And when I did it, it was definitely not received the way that it was in the film. I'm just gonna say that,
Oh, excuse me.
I've never growled.
Okay.
I've been known to roar here and there.
Not roar. Okay,
so let me jump in now because I feel like let me jump in now and say something. Okay, code 10, this is Joe Club. Get them chains off the doors, okay?
Chains off the door.
So here's the
actually,
thing.
yo, I actually remember the first time I ever roared in some pussy. Like,
oh
yeah.
wow!
I didn't know we were going here. Oh Lord,
well, let me mark this one as a problem.
So let me tell you my perspective.
Okay.
Because my perspective is it is a awesome film. All right, so I'm trying to think of which relationship. Wait, I'm trying to think of which relationship stands out the most to me. Because Loretta and Gregory, that's just beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
what about Loretta and the ex-husband?
Oh Lord, well that is so real, and we know that is real. To us today.
What wasn't so realistic was his honesty.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think a lot of women in that situation. I feel like in just listening to the commentary and women that I've known personally, I feel like that's something like that. It's like almost like a detective.
With her. He was
even then I feel like it's a detective job. Like, they got to come to that conclusion or figure that out on their own. Very seldom have I heard of like,
she kept trying to sleep with him every year he came by.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he had to really sit her down and like admit, you know what I'm saying? And I got from the thing that it was he came off with this air of like, you should know this, but he also, you know, and like Giancarlo is one of our like truly phenomenal like actors.
Unsung heroes,
right? And incredibly unsung, like right up there with like Jeffrey Wright, like just incredibly unsung. Because I thought that he struck this balance where I did not feel like his character had ever actually said this out loud to anyone before, right? Like, I felt like he simultaneously was giving off this air of like, don't act like you didn't know. But at the same time, like, this is my first time really saying this out loud to someone who did not know, who was not in my inner circle.
She backed him up against the wall. Is what she did.
Yeah. She was like, so, you know.
Yeah, like, I don't want this mess. I don't know what to tell you. I do not want this.
I started doing this every year.
Yeah, so therefore, I just got to be honest. Look, that's the only choice.
Right. So she basically forced him into that corner.
A complex relationship that happens frequently as people grow and discover themselves and be. And yeah, so I think it's very real. And he was kind of an asshole, though.
I'm just, you know, shout out to Terry McMillan for writing a good story. She has a way of exposing people in her stories, and I just I remember just reading the story before I saw the movie, and it was interesting. I think the relationship that stood out to me the most probably was the crackhead relationship, where she was
raggedy bitch.
Was the crackhead related? That it was unbelievable, but I know these people, so uh, yeah. But
Oh yeah, that
yeah,
was very real too. That happens. You got by a crackhead. You ain't even
yeah.
know. No,
But
this nigga is on
and then
crack.
that became like the most memorable scene to me when she was talking to Whitney Houston about the crackhead. That then became like it wasn't funny to me, but I was like, ooh, if
Like you
she
don't
really
think he took my wallet, do you? Like yes, miss. We think he took. You lucky you got your TV on the wall. This nigga's
oh
wearing a leather vest in the summertime.
yeah. But
Yeah. And I hate a.
anything
Can I say wait? I hate leather vests to this day because of that
because
movie. Thank you. Go ahead.
he was hot, but he ain't no shirt on. That
Yeah, do
made it
not come in here with no leather vest. I will be very disappointed.
a shirtless, not even like a nice shirtless joint.
No, that's a hot mess. Like when I was at what they call it, Black Bike Week.
Oh,
Mhm.
the lot.
Child, all them hot ass vests. I said, y'all, this is
And
not what's it. I'm sorry.
y'all wanted like a nice little cotton breathable number in the middle of the summer,
No,
but
you can't wear no cotton on a motherfucking Harley.
but you can't wear no damn leather in the middle of the summer either.
But they do.
I
That's what
guess
they be doing. That's the
That has been
standard.
established, Nate. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's
I
what they
guess
do. They love it. And shout out to them. I'm not saying, but the look for me, it just does not
we'll do it for
soothe me.
you.
And you
It
know,
don't do it for you,
everybody's
Tracie.
different. You know? No, that's not my type. No, don't biker yo. But you know, I still had a good time at the good
Biker, yo.
Well, that's a good time to be at
festivities, you know.
because
It
they've
was a
been known
good time.
a little
They've been
adventurous.
known to do what, Nate? What did you hear on the news?
I ain't gonna get their business. I ain't gonna shout them out like that.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I don't know nothing about that. I just
Oh,
that leather
they's
vest in the
So wait,
they interesting bunch.
did y'all actually talk about what relationship like work which one mirrored like you've been in before? Or was that
Oh,
just
well,
me
we didn't
just
make
putting
it
all
personal.
my shit out there?
So which one were you in? Were you the
uh,
Leon character?
he
Were
already
you the
told you he was foreign. He already
Oh,
told
okay.
you he was foreign
That's right.
back to back.
And Miss Tracie, you?
um who who one? I would probably have to hmm.
uh,
I don't think personally, personally, I understand the relationship between Whitney and her mother to a
oh
certain
yeah,
extent.
yeah.
I understand definitely Layla and Leon
Okay,
say would
okay.
be the closest
It did be,
to
did be.
yes, that is the closest to where I have definitely run across a time or
Mm-hmm.
two.
Mm.
A
I
time or
think the
two and
one
they
that
be fine. And that's the thing, they all be fine. They be fine, fine, fine. But then they oh Lord, what did I do?
What did I? I don't know if any of those relationships.
I think
Wife calling. Hey, his wife dead. Where his wife? Hey, she's
I'm
alive.
gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go and say that, like, yo, I think when I look at this film, like, for me, I think it's the being coddled by your mom and kind of
Okay.
being overprotected by mom
Mm-hmm.
and over like the overbearingness, right? Like the relationship between Loretta Devine and her son,
He
like
was like
Oh
her
yeah, that's
husband.
real, real.
and I remember, like, because I was thinking about it when I watched it the other day, and I was remembering, like, I remember like coming out of high school, like I did not want to go straight to college. Like
Mm-hmm.
something instinctively in me understood that I needed some time. And like it was really like I'm 18, right? So like I can't really verbalize how I was feeling, but something inside of me understood that like going straight to college just wasn't the right thing. Like I wanted to go in the military. My mother was like completely against that. She like convinced me that I was going to get like step on a landmine first day in basic training, right? Like, and it was crazy because I watched Loretta Devine and I do see a lot of parallels. Like my mom was very much like she became a single mom overnight. Like my dad was there one day, and then there was like the next day dad didn't come home, right?
Ooh.
And it was actually more of a transition. Like as I got older, I realized that it was not the way I remembered it, right? It was a transition, but you do everything you can to shield your children from like what's going on, what's really going on when they're children. So they did a really good job of shielding me and my sister from the problems that they were having. So when I look back as a kid, it seemed to me like my dad was there and then he wasn't. But there was like this transition of where dad kind of like what really happened was we saw him a little less and a little less and a little less. And then like it became clear to us that dad no longer resides here. Like it, but I remember as a kid how I felt. It was almost like it happened overnight. And my mom didn't really date after that. Like my mom went into this like mode of like all that matters is like what I can do for these children. So like I remember like me and my sister like telling my mom like, hey, you need to go out, you need to go hang out, you need to like, you know, go out with your girlfriends, right? Like we weren't old enough to kind of be like go find a new man, but we were just like, you know, you don't go out anymore, you don't hang out with your friends, you know, like and my mom was like, you know, like things were definitely worse off than we realized as kids. And my mom trying to weather that storm of going from being a housewife to having to provide solely for two kids. It was a lot on her. And in that, I think she did get really, really overprotective. So like I saw in that relationship with Loretta Devine and her son, a lot of the things that like I went through with my mom. And then apparently single mothers are like even harder on their daughters. So my little sister like went through some whole other shit that like was completely separate from what my experience with my mom was. But there was a lot of this like overprotectiveness of like, you know, trying to keep me safe. And then me being a young man and like getting to that age where like I need to test the waters for myself.
I'm glad that relationship was incorporated into the story because that's something that normally doesn't get seen. Yeah. And it was almost it was a little creepy, just a tad bit, because it's almost as if he became the man of the house. And that was just you know, being a child, being a son, you know, like you said, of a single parent, that was awkward to watch because it was almost like she was relying on him to be her companion, not in like an ancestral way, but
and I never got that from my mom, but my mom was definitely very, very over like very, very protective of me. But also very like understanding because I was getting away, and that's one of the things that's like a point of contention between me and my sister because I got away with all types of bullshit, and my sister did not. You know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't an exact replication of what we saw in the movie, but I would think that I would have to say that that's probably the relationship that I identify with the most, because when I was trying to go off on my own, you know, I eventually went to school in Florida, and I remember that I got accepted to that school in my senior year in college, and my mom was not having it because it was so far away. It was in Miami, and it took me a whole year after I graduated to actually end up at that school because initially my mother was just not having it. So like he's trying to go to Paris, on this school trip, this school related trip, and she's not trying to let him go. And so I identified with that.
But you were saying that it happens a lot, Tracie?
Oh, definitely. I was saying that in general, the Black woman, the way that they treat their sons, it is very it is very like, I'm trying to keep you safe, like George said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep you safe. So that is the general theme. And then it's also a general theme that for the woman is get out there and make it happen.
Yeah.
Right. So it's these two dynamics that play out. But Loretta did a great job. Because that is definitely very real. Mothers, you mentioned you are now the man of the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So to the point of you are given that title, you are given he's my man, he's my
Yeah.
it goes
Everything.
deeper, and not in a, like you said, but it goes deep in that type of way. So it's very interesting. And then I think about the lives, I just think about people who raise their sons in that fashion, and like we say, the route that they take, unless they're able to break out.
Yeah. And that
And
idea
really,
of them raising them in the image of the man that they want versus the man that they could be. So
exactly. So you want a man to clean, but you don't
yeah,
require the men in your
your
house to
son.
clean.
Yeah,
So if
and
you're not
yeah.
somewhere that the dots aren't connecting, so you have
Mm-hmm.
to. So if he is the man, then he's going to have to do some man things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to grow up waiting for somebody to be you, and that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it happens sometimes. It
But
happens.
we do, but then those relationships become very dependent. You become very
Hmm.
dependent on, and then that person becomes tired of being a mom or whatever. But and that's what I meant by some of these things seemingly were good films, but when you start digging down inside of them, you start seeing things that really parallel real life. And that, as George pointed that out, that was one of the things that stood out to me, because I remember the Gregory Hines character and how he became very influential with the mom and kind of took that burden that the son had and put himself, in between that, so the
I
child
let that
could be
bird
a child
fly.
and grow. Right, right.
You got to
So
let
that
that
was.
bird fly.
I'm glad they let that guy be noticed, because I think his role in the book wasn't that. He just was like the guy that was trying to be the stepdad. You know, she writes from a real broken place in her relationships. So sometimes she get a little bitter when she talked about her relationships. But I overall, I think this was
But that's real
great.
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like
real,
that brokenness is what we grow from.
but you
That
gotta
that
sometimes learn how to
that
call it brokenness and not, you know.
no, I
Uh,
think I think the trouble in that is that I think a lot of people have a issue with calling themselves broke.
broken.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Or broken.
Hmm.
But regardless of whether you acknowledge it, I think that's the point where that's what we grow from. That's what we learn from. Like our
Mm.
brokenness or the places where we either haven't had a need fulfilled or met, and that's where we grow from.
And the best
Mm.
I
art
just
holds a mirror. The
yeah,
Yeah.
best art holds a mirror up,
Yeah.
exactly.
and it allows you to see. And that is definitely this film, especially for the Black experience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
speaking on the Black experience, that does not have anything to do with the white oppression side of it. So it's not a film that deals with that. It is strictly our
Very
relationships
much
dealing
our
with us.
relationships,
Except
yes.
for that white one, the
And,
white woman. That was
But
it. But
even
she
his
really wasn't
relationship, and
even.
that's what I. But
yeah,
It wasn't.
even
Yeah.
that, and that's why, and it's mostly that character that I think I made the comment earlier when we first started talking was that I didn't feel like the men were well represented or like didn't really have a whole lot to work with, is what I said. And I was
Well,
particularly talking about that character because there's a lot that goes into that. Like, you've built this life with a woman, right? I feel like building a life with a woman and then walking away from that, despite the baggage and the things that come with that, right? Like, when you build that type of life, I would like to think that any man would understand that that's not something you can just walk away from scot-free. Like, I'm just gonna go and do my thing over here, right? Like, there's gonna be annulments and there's gonna be things, financial penalties, whatever, right? So what makes a man walk away completely from his wife? What motivates him to do something like that? And that's where I was like, oh, because we really didn't get his side of the story, right?
well, you kind of
got some
hear
superficial shit.
Yeah,
We
you
didn't really get a
hear
deep examination into like why he felt like he needed to leave this beautiful.
Well, you have to
like,
look
But
at
you know
some of
why we
the.
got a
woman.
deep examination? Nope. You know why I know we got a deep examination? Because you can definitely tell someone's character by how they treat a person when it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like you say, how can somebody do something like that? But I feel like that's always in you.
Yeah.
You just don't have the opportunity to act on it. And it is often come into coins that you are able to act on those things. And that's why we have so that's why so many people with the coins, you know, they cut a fool because they know it's accepted because they have the coins. So people wait, and he waited until he had the coins. And he was able to do something else, right? Instead of being honest, instead of and instead of being not even civil, like she helped you build it. So there is definitely, so when you start talking about taking the bank accounts, and that's craziness. That is filthiness. And I definitely don't understand that mindset. So I hear what you're saying.
So you hear a lot
I
about
forgot
the
he did some real
backstory.
ill shit. Like,
You hear a lot about his backstory and how she kind of was examining, like he had a whole other life. You know, he had properties and vineyards that he never even told. So he was, as Tracie said, in preparation for this. And it just was like, okay, it took us 10 years to build this company up. I'm ready to go now. And now I'm going to tell you.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like that was a cheap shot because in the movie, you hear it from her perspective, and you definitely walk away with this idea that he was just a, like, you know, he was just a horrible person that was always intending to leave her, or was at least always keeping her around for some ulterior motive, right?
Well, I think the lesson
really get to hear his voice or his side of things, like other than
but I think the
him
lesson
being
was for women.
what we
It
think
wasn't
is
for
like a
us.
really asshole perspective.
But it wasn't for us to look at this movie and learn something. It was more so for women to learn a lesson. Don't
that's fine.
put all your
And that's
eggs
fine.
in one. Don't even if you're married to somebody, have your own. Like, have your own career, have your own dreams. Don't put all your dreams in somebody else's basket.
And
You know,
I'm like I agree. Like I'm totally cool with that.
yeah. So this has been a really nice lineup. You know, a couple ones that we're not gonna talk about anymore, uh, but there was some digging into it and things. You know, even when you look at a film, try to look at it. You know, again down the line as you grow. Look at some of those things that you like to watch and see how your opinion about it changes. Because a lot of these things are things that I've watched a few times, and as I've grown older, you know, even in this conversation, you know, about waiting to exhale, I paid attention to that relationship with the son and mother, but I didn't really. It wasn't my relationship, so I didn't dig any deeper into it. But it makes a lot of sense now, and is a typical mother son relationship when you have a single parent. But yeah, just look at some of those things that you liked as a child or a teenager or in your 20s, and as you grow, look how the meaning of some of those things change for you as you grow older. But um, any
Butterfly in the sky. It's like, I got what you're thinking. There you go.
so I wanted to one ask everybody out of this lineup, which one would you definitely watch again, and which one are you never going to watch again?
I'm definitely gonna watch Women's of Brewster Place again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna watch Bridesmaids again.
Surprise, surprise. Miss
Okay,
Jiggetts.
I am definitely, hmm. Okay, I will definitely watch Waiting to Exhale again.
Mm-hmm.
And I will definitely not watch. Let's just go for Bridesmaids for fun.
Oh, okay. Two for Bridesmaids. Okay,
Yeah, I would.
okay.
Out of all the films, I will watch them again. But Bridesmaids, I would not. Yeah, that's my final answer.
Mm. I mean, because Waiting Exhale is already in my end of the year repertoire, I think I'll definitely watch Women of Brewster Place, and I've watched that several times. But that's one that I think I'm gonna go back and look at again. And even for Waiting to Exhale, I think looking at the individual relationships, because I just was speaking about the woman with her romantic relationships. I didn't even think about the mother and daughter relationship, the mother son. I didn't even think about those types of relationships when thinking about this. So now when I watch it again, that's what I'm gonna be looking at it for. So, but I think A League of Their Own is the one that I'm never gonna watch again.
Mm.
I
Okay,
just
okay.
watching it as an older guy, or well, at my age now, I didn't really, I didn't like it the same way I liked it when I was younger.
And that
Um,
makes sense.
Miss Jiggetts, this
Yes,
her
that's
second
me.
time on. I think I don't know. We gonna have to. I'm trying to get her back on a media platform. She has her colored section uh
Uh,
ministry, but I'm trying to bring her back into the fold of podcasting and such, and she's a little
well, I
resistant,
love it.
man.
I love it. And when you call on me, I am here. I'm trying to get my life together so I can be out here with the people because I love the people and I love to talk to the
Yeah.
people. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your platform. And G. Oliver, you already know, especially when we talking about movies and acting, all of us have been so many shows, so many
Can I tell
scripts,
y'all
right?
how? Can I tell y'all
Mm.
how Tracie Jiggetts is like? Tracie Jiggetts was like who introduced me to how this acting shit really worked.
Oh shit. Raise the roof. I
You want
received that.
Well,
to
a
tell a
lot of the
story?
shit that I be talking on this show, Nate, is
Mm-hmm.
because Tracie Jiggetts taught me that Academy Awards are won in scenes,
Mm-hmm.
not full movies, just
Yeah.
scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It'd be that one moment of a piece that makes you, freaks out.
You have their hearts forever.
The
Mm-hmm.
first play I ever did was with Tracie Jiggetts, and she was like, "Yo, you gotta keep doing this." And I was like, then she was like, "Let me show you what you part of. Let me show you this legacy." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay, for the introduction.
Yeah,
Yes. And
the magical
yes.
Negro did that.
Mm. She has a
Friends,
way of touching a life, touching a soul,
come
touching it.
through. Receive all the flowers right now. But you two are awesome in your own rights. I love working with you all. And I mean it. I mean it. Y'all some talented numbers.
Well, thank you, Miss Tracy. You are a talented individual, all in of yourself, multi-talented, multifaceted individual. And I love having you on this platform because
Appreciate
I don't ever get to talk uh, this perform. I never get to talk performing arts. I'm used to talking to other artists all day and children and such, but this is definitely
it.
helping me to get that. I've been ever since I started watching these films like on a daily basis now. it's making me miss theater. It's making me miss being on stage.
God, I miss theater.
I've done extra work. I don't like sitting around on a set. That's not something I enjoy doing. But theater is definitely something that I'm a miss doing, and that I was ready to let go. Well, I had already let it go, but this is making me fall in love with it again. Watching things, and we're going to do a special bonus edition of BingeWorthy Podcast, and we're going to have I think three. We're only doing three this time. So, but thank you again, Miss Tracie, for coming. Can you let people know the Art of Truth, the Magical Negro, the hot photographer, all those
Oh, well,
things?
you can find me definitely www.artoftruth.org. But wait a minute, when you gonna play this? Because I gotta go pay the bill.
Tuesday.
But yeah, go to that number. But definitely there is the Art of Truth Instagram page. There is the Magical Negro 76 as well. And yes, I'm also known as Tracie Jiggetts in these streets. So
Yeah.
holla at me.
Miss Tracie, if you nasty. But
Only. And that is
But-
so over. Shut up, Nate. That is you can't tell
Miss
everybody my
Yo,
secrets.
what
Don't
what's
tell
sad?
everybody
Yo,
my
like yeah.
secrets, yo.
Oh my
Don't-
goodness.
Tracie, if you nasty.
That's why I call her Miss Tracie. Because she's such
Shut
a lady.
up.
She's such a lady.
Because I've been calling her Miss Tracie all episode. Like,
Yeah, because that's her
I
name.
didn't know it was Miss Tracie if you nasty.
Well,
Yeah, that's don't put the ending on it, please. Just keep it. Let's keep it cute, gentlemen.
I was Miss Tracie. I promise you, I wasn't being nasty when I said Miss Tracie.
Oh, I know. Look. It is all love. Y'all already know it don't matter neither way. Just be yourself. Just be yourself.
It don't matter either way.
So, and I'm a just for the last, I'm a put Miss Tracie out there because the world is
my
missing. Not like that. Look at you. See now you telling on yourself now. But
Let me find out Miss Tracie got a little man over there. Like
Miss
what
Tracie got a lot of means. Everybody, everybody got a
we need to have Miss Tracie back as a guest.
I will love
like ASAP.
because y'all know I am every woman, so I can be all things.
Oh, okay.
I can be all the things.
But I'm
so
gonna put you on blast because the world is, and I know, in the midst of a pandemic, we're getting our lives together. You the mother of truth.
Yes.
That's a life. That's a life all in of itself.
Yes, check out his Instagram page. His Instagram page is Growing Up Truth.
There we go. And
yes,
but I'm going to blast you a little bit because the world is in need of an actor's playground. And I say this to her every time, but I just wanted to put it out there so it's somewhere recorded. So somebody else may be like, what is that actor's playground? Go to Facebook and you can find out. And then call Miss Tracie.
It is documented.
Right.
And it is a wonderful event. And I am definitely down because we talked about doing a virtual ministry. But we can't wait until the world opens up. But I am definitely open for planning and going forward because it is a great time. But I definitely can't do it on my own. I need help.
Well, me and my, I was about to say me and my, it's time to get off. No, I was about to say something inappropriate, but
we've been saying inappropriate shit all night. Speak your piece.
That's because you drinking. That's why you sipping over there.
Yeah, you got me.
right. Exactly. He a little loose with the cool. Right. But I really do appreciate
the hell with both of y'all.
For always supporting and always being like a big sister in this Black arts community and such. And the show is going to keep going on. This is only episode number 5. Yeah, number 5. And we have 6 more to go. And we are doing our best and we going to get it done. So keep sharing it, liking it, subscribing, we've been doing pretty good on our YouTube, and we trying to boost it up so me and Mr. Oliver over here can be flossy
We
and
gotta
famous.
come off camera. We gotta come on camera.
I agree.
He
Next
wanna.
time you shall reveal
No, I'm
yourselves.
just saying on Facebook it's a different atmosphere. That's all I'm saying.
It is.
Well,
But
we
On you,
receive it. We
we
receive it.
receive it.
We are here
We
for it.
receive it.
they
But in
not
the
no
meantime, get these avatars.
Miss Tracie. I love you, and I thank you. But
Okay.
no, niggas on Facebook are not receiving it. Actually, like when
Well,
we
those
said,
we're not. Well, we'll talk about that after. So this is another edition
Yeah,
of the
okay.
Bingeworthy podcast with the lovely Miss Tracie Jiggetts as our illustrious guest host this time, and hopefully she'll come back. You know, we got some more episodes that I know she'll love, and we're gonna
Oh,
bring her
you
back.
know you got me. If
We may
you
add
worry about it.
get a little fame action going. But we're gonna have a special bonus episode this weekend, so look out for it. This every Tuesday a new episode drops, so definitely like, share, subscribe, click on the little bell so you get the notification. Subscribe to our Instagram page as well as our Facebook page, and we're out, people.
see
Say
y'all next
goodbye,
week.
Over
everybody.
now.
Over and out. Over and
Bye.
out.
Mwah.